Culture.
I'm here with the family.
Bryce, XXV, Double I,
Rome.
D-Malo,
Gruff Lion.
T-Buggy, man.
Just the greatest sports show on the planet. La Familia. Hope y'all ready for a ride.
Can't wait to hear what you guys got to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what it is, man. Today is Monday, April 21st, the day after, one of my personal favorite holidays, Easter weekend, for all those that celebrate. I'm the host of today's show, Young Rome 22. This is Held to the Culture. If you're confused, this is the Commander specific podcast for the day. Me and my homie Bryce got a special guest for you guys today. Who we're going to be bringing in a few minutes. But Bryce, is there anything you want to talk about before we get started?
Hey, bro, I thought you was going somewhere totally different with that holiday. All right, you pulled a rabbit out your hat. No pun intended when you said Easter. But yeah, nothing much, man. Ready to get into it.
Yeah, man. I had a great weekend. Lots of food. I've been hitting the gym recently, but this Easter meal done set me back, bro. I'm gonna have to double it up tomorrow. I'm gonna have to double it up this week because it was kind of crazy with all the extra festivities. But we are here to talk some NFL football. Like I said, specifically Commanders, and it is draft week, man. So it's a big week. And like we told you guys on previous episodes, we're gonna have a special guest this week. And without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my guy Wole from the Urban Sports Podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, y'all, man? How y'all doing? Wole Urban Sports, same podcast. The podcast is a podcast that we typically now. It used to be we used to air just on Wednesdays, but I like the hoop, so I had to kind of move the time, so I still hoop in my older age. But so we're probably gonna be scheduled more consistently on Tuesdays at 7:00. Live via YouTube Live, X Live, Facebook Live, even IG Live as well. So yeah, and we talk about Commanders, Wizards. I'm trying to get into talk about some hockey stuff. So I'm having like a hockey guest. I'm trying to be well versed in the game. Talk baseball as well at times. But yeah, we have a Commander specific show also called All Burgundy and Gold Everything, which is powered by the Urban Sports Center and also Fox Sports Radio. So we typically we talk. That's all Commander stuff. We used to usually during the season we have a post game, pre game, and we'll have shows during the week. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my spiel.
Yep. Heavy on the Commanders, man. I know you stay locked in with the team.
Yeah.
Very well knowledgeable. I've been on the show before. I believe it was around the Panthers game. Mm-hmm. So I know you and your crew very, very knowledgeable, very in depth. So that's why we decided to have you on for the draft, man. We got a couple other topics we'll get to here a little bit later as well, but the draft is on Thursday, the first round specifically. Commanders got the 29th pick. Me and Bryce have been chopping it up the last few weeks about what they could potentially do with that pick. So I'm gonna put everybody on the spot here tonight. The draft's in a couple days. What are the Commanders gonna do? That's what the people want to know. Who are we gonna pick with the 29th pick? It seems like the options are endless. A trade up is on the table. A trade back is on the table. Maybe you can name some positions you think they're definitely not gonna take. Obviously, it looks like they're comfortable at quarterback. I don't really see them going for a tight end. But I'll start with you, Wole. What do you think they're going to do with that 29th pick?
I mean, I think they're getting an edge rusher. That's my guess. I feel like I wouldn't, depending on if their guy isn't there, I believe they'll probably trade back. But I feel like an edge rusher. You can get the kid from you get Mike the kid from Marshall. I think he's one Green in terms of Mike Green. I think he's a good one to go after. I like the kid from my favorite is the kid from Boston College, Donovan. I'm going to mess his name up. He's Nigerian, so I feel bad about bletching his name up. But I'm gonna call him Donovan. I'm gonna call him D. D is like that dude. I feel like is nasty. That's the one I prefer for the team to get. Also, you got the kid from Ole Miss, who I think who's pretty nice too as well. So they got some guys at edge rusher that I believe that I feel like they can really solidify the defense because at the end of the day, that's what really needs work. All right, like we saw what Jaden did with that offense, but we couldn't stop folks a lot. We can stop folks at times, right? So I just feel like you need a consistent pass rusher and an edge rusher who can not just rush the passer, can also play against the run too. I think that's where the flaws came with Dante Fowler. It was that he had like 10 plus sacks, but he couldn't really play the run. So that was kind of his weakness too. And I think teams we saw the Eagles exploit that in that NFC Championship game. So for me, I would lean more towards getting a defensive, an edge rusher. But if a player that slides to you, that's undeniable, best player available type of thing, undeniable in a position like say cornerback, defensive line, offensive lineman. Like if there's a player or wide receiver, if there's a player that you didn't think you were going to get, and now it falls on your plate, I think you make that move.
Yeah, I would agree with the best player available move as well. But you kind of nailed it for me, man. Donovan is who I think the guy from Boston College.
Yeah.
That's the edge rusher that I have them getting. I think that's a lock. If I was a betting man, I would put him down at 29 for the Commanders. I think he'll be there. And I think to your undeniable point, they undeniably need a pass rusher, and he kind of fits the bill. Excellent speed rusher. One of the fastest edge rushers I think that's going to be on the board this season. So I think he'd almost be able to day one starter and could probably give your team a solid impact right off the bat. Me personally, though, I kind of want them to go corner. That's just the DB and me specifically. Yeah. The kid from Florida State, I don't want to butcher his first name, but last name Thomas. I think he's one of the better corners. I can see him going corners. Corners can tend to go a little earlier than they need to, but I can see him kind of being the late first, early second, unless somebody really falls in love and takes him a little sooner. I don't want the Commanders to reach for him, but if he's there at 29, I don't think that'd be a bad pick. Bryce, what are you thinking they do at 29?
Yeah, I mean, I think y'all are probably pretty accurate with what their thoughts are, right? Especially if you look at some of the betting odds. Right now, it's like plus 300 for him to get an edge rusher, plus 320 for him to go cornerback. I think if you were a betting person, you're trying to take the safest bet. Those are probably the smartest options to go with. I truly think, and I'm basing this off the draft philosophy I saw from last season, right? I truly think that Adam Peters is a value guy when it comes to drafting. I think he looks at the board and he decides like who is giving me the best value at this moment. Think back to when we took my guy Jazon Newton last year, right? Nobody expected that Newton draft pick, right? He was a guy that a lot of folks thought would be a first round pick, dropped to the early second, and instead of like trying to fill that need that they could have filled, right? They went with Newton, who really at the time wasn't a need considering you had John Allen and Deron Payne in the middle, right? I see something similar happening in this draft, especially because of the way I think the board is gonna shake out, right? I think it's gonna be an early run on corners, at least those top 2 or 3 guys. If they do go corner, I think my favorite guy would be Jahdae Barron from Texas. I think he kind of like checks all the boxes when it comes to like what the Commanders are looking for in a player. He's willing to tackle, you know what I'm saying, and he can cover. And I think after the Emmanuel Forbes experiment, we're going to stay away from corners that aren't trying to get their nose into the action. And then, like when it comes to the edge rushers, I can see them going edge rusher too. But that's another position where I think the value, like to me, the value between like pick 15 to pick like 50 doesn't vary a whole much when you're talking about the edge rushers. I think the same quality of edge rusher you can get around that pick 29, you might be able to get at 61. And that's why I think they might not go edge rusher, right? With that first pick. If they trade down, all bets are off. But one position I do see sliding in this draft, and there's 2 players specifically, are 2 of the tackles. And I'm talking about my guy from Oregon, that's Josh Connerly, and then Josh Simmons from Ohio State. Simmons tore his knee up, right? And I think that's going to be the reason he drops. But before he got injured, he was looking like a surefire top 10 pick. Connerly, on the other hand, has, there's been some discussion about how good of a player he is. But if you turn on the tape, and I believe it's the Abdul Carter tape, he played his ass off against Abdul Carter. And that's the top guy in this draft, right? And to me, when I'm looking at O-linemen, I like to look at the tape against the best player they went against instead of like, their overall tape. Show me the NFL talent they played, and that's how I'm gonna judge the O-lineman. So I could really see one of those players falling. If that's the case, I think Adam Peters goes in there and gets a steal. In the pre-show, we was kind of talking about like how they flipped around my boy Brandon Coleman, right? He played for us last year. Did an admirable job in all of our opinions. And then, they ended up going to get Tunsil. And the first thing at the owners' meetings out of Dan Quinn's mouth was that, we trying Brandon on the right side. And he alluded to trying him at right tackle, right? But I think that Brandon Coleman is a bit of a chess piece along that O-line. And if you can move Brandon Coleman on the inside and get a certified right tackle, and you already got Laramie on the left, I think we're looking at one of the best O-lines we would have had in years. You know what I'm saying? Especially once my guy Cosme gets back. So
I like that.
I'm an odds better. I always say that on the show, Ron. You know that I'm an odds better. So when I put my bets in this week, I'm a bet on them getting the O lineman, just because I think that the value for O lineman could be there.
Hey Bryce, that's an excellent point, especially when you make the point that Adam Peters drafted Newton last year, which didn't really seem necessary in the moment. But if you can upgrade at the tackle position, kick Coleman back inside to the left guard, Brandon Sheriff comes back at the right guard. Not only do we have one of the best offensive lines that we've had in years, we probably got one of the best offensive lines in the league, period, which is very enticing when you see what Jaden Daniels did last year. That's a very good way to avoid a sophomore slump. Something that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. But that also kind of leads me into the next thing. So, like, do you guys think that they should really be going after the needs, or do you think they should be going best player available? Because to me, I feel like the defense, you got to adjust the defense, right?
Yeah.
As much as I love what Bryce just said, I think going tackle, even going wide receiver, anything on offense is like a luxury, right? You're just kind of building something that you already know can kind of already flow. We just lost the NFC Championship game and we dropped 55 points. So I want to see a first round pick on defense in some capacity, but I don't know. Do you think they should be going best player available?
It's crazy. So I kind of Bryce is almost swayed. He kind of swayed me a little bit because it's an excellent point. I think that my whole thought process when you got a young quarterback, regardless, is do what's best for a young quarterback. So obviously, like if you can get a tackle at that quality that is a bookend, you pairing him with Tunsil, you're gonna kick in. I think to your point, Bryce, I think that Brandon Coleman, personally, if I was betting, I think he could be an all-world guard compared to an all-world like tackle. But I do think too, at the same time, flip it though, I do think that if the Coleman experiment works at tackle, then just the same point you made, this could still be one of the best lines of football if he can work at tackle. If Brandon Coleman can work at tackle. But I do like your point a lot because I think there's more high side of him playing guard because we've seen this. We've seen tackles who play guard, tackles who didn't succeed at tackle, play guard and been all world.
Brandon Sheriff.
I'll give you a sorry, like Brandon Sheriff was really good. But I'll give you one that folk called a bust. Flowers was called a bust.
Oh,
we moved him with the Giants. We moved him to tackle. The guard, and everybody was in love with him. Like we thought he was all world at guard. You know what I mean? So it shows that when you play tackle, and then they move you down to guard, you could be all world. But Brandon Sheriff, just like you said, in college he played tackle all his life in Iowa. Moving to guard in the NFL, one of the best guards in football, right? So, but I would kind of lean on best available player, kind of, because I feel like at 29, like building your team stack wise on defense, like any which way in talent, it's gonna make you better regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, on the defense, we mentioned like defense edge rusher. I think this team needs a safety. Like I'm not sold on. I like Quan, so I like Quan. It ain't Quan. Quan ain't my problem. I ain't sold on who you got next to Quan. Like you didn't let Jeremy Chin go. And I had my issue. I had some issues with Chin, but like to me, Chin, like I think this team needs a real turnover-prone type of safety, and they don't got one. They don't got one back there. And then the kid they got from the Saints, he ain't. Or in a lot, he played with the Saints last year. He ain't that type of safety. It's all. And then I know from his contract, I can tell he's going to be competing with Percy. And Percy, no knock on Percy. Percy's very fast. I know this. He's very, very fast. But Percy's instincts ain't there. So I'm just saying, like, they need a safety. So, but going back to the initial thought, I would go best available because you got a lot of talented. To me, if you get best available in that slot, you're probably gonna get in my mind, you're gonna get a defensive player because there are a lot. This draft is stacked with talented defensive players who are going to slip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the safety, I believe the safety in South Carolina, he a dog. He'll probably slip to the later rounds. There are guys out here who are going to slip. Like dogs are going to slip.
to your point, they definitely need somebody with that dog mentality on defense, whether
Yeah,
it's safety or edge rusher. But
yeah,
you got to get somebody that's a disruptor, somebody
yes.
that's gonna, but like another Frankie Louvu. You got Louvu in the middle. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody with that similar type of dogness on the back end or the front end to really solidify things. But I think they got to go defense first round. I
Mhm.
think if it's offense, it's got
Running
to be
back,
worth it. It's got to be worth it.
a running back. You went to running back in the first round?
Hey, listen, if Hampton or Genty's there, I'd be Genty not gonna be there, obviously, but
Nah.
if Hampton's there, I'd be tempted. And reason being is because and I feel y'all would want to go defense in the first round, right?
Mhm.
I think you made a really good point too. That hey, we made it to the championship game, then we got 55 put on our heads, right? But if I'm being completely honest, right? And then Wole, I think you made the grand point, which is when you're in this position, you gotta do anything you can do to help your rookie quarterback, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So the opinion of some might be like the thing you can do the most to help Jaden is give him a defense, right? But let's be honest, right? Where our defense is right now, do we think that one player drafted at number 29 in this draft, that's a quote unquote weak draft, is going to change us getting 55 put on our heads by a great offense?
Right.
Probably not. You know what I'm saying? And that's where like my mind says, you know what? Maybe 29 not the spot to try to land some sort of elite defensive player, just because it's probably not going to be the difference in us getting 55 put on our heads. Now, what could be the difference? What could be the difference is us being able to put up 57 when somebody puts up 55. And if you are able to give that offensive weapon to a team that already showed that they can put up, I mean, they scored 55, but we still put up like 31 or something. And I know garbage time, whatever. We still almost hit 30 points. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, if we are able to add to our arsenal, because mind you, we put up big numbers this year offensively, top 5 in points, right? We put up big numbers offensively without really having a crazy arsenal of weapons. Like it was Terry and then who? You feel me? So it's like if you're able to add to that arsenal of weapons to a team that was already top 5, maybe now you're looking at an offense that's so elite that we get to the point where all we need is a random strip sack. Just get us one random strip sack. Just get us 3 sacks. Just get us, you know what I'm saying? And maybe it becomes that type of team offensively because I feel like we have more room to grow on defense for sure, but I feel like offensively we're way closer to being elite. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of want to chase that eliteness instead of trying to chase decency on defense.
That's a good point because that's kind of what this is boiling down to. Do you boost your offense and make your offense an elite offense, or do you take your halfway decent defense and make it kind of good? So that's really what it's going to boil down to for Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. Man, it's hard for me to not think that they can go defense. But Bryce, you made some real good points. If they don't go edge rusher first round, I do think they could get a solid edge rusher second round. But then what you do with that first round pick is going to hold a lot of weight because it's a lot of different ways that you could go. I like the offensive line route better. If you strengthen our O line better than getting a running back. But we talked about this last week, Bryce. Is there a running back? And I want both of you guys to answer this question. Is there a running back that you think will be on the board at 29th? Because if we draft a first round running back, B-Rob is the writing's on the wall, right? So is there a guy on the board that you think could just come in and take them carries off of B-Rob?
I'm gonna tell you. I mean, this hurts me to say this because it goes against my Michigan love. But I love to do Travion Henderson, man. I love Travion Henderson. I just think that when I watch him play, we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs and stuff, and he ran a good 40, but the tape don't lie too. He don't get walked. When he hits acceleration, he don't get walked. And that, to me, you pair that type of player with Jaden, that type of player. There's certain things I know. Ideally, you can trade back and get him. I think he'll slip in the second round. So I wouldn't say you had to draft him at 29, but it'll be early second. It'll be early to mid second. So I would if I really wanted, if I wanted to get a back from my first pick and give more picks. I do like Bryce's point because I do want to add this to it because I do think because you guys see how this team moves how this team was moving in the offseason. I mean, in free agency, to his point, they didn't make enough. They didn't make moves to say this defense is going to be world beaters, right? And you can't, and you're not going. There's no rookie it's rarely a rookie that late in the draft where you can say he's going to change change the whole trajectory of your defense, right? So I do agree with them in that point. Like I'm like, all right, so that kind of leans to you can lean away, say they would have no issue with drafting an offensive player. You know what I mean? They're more in line to say we're trying to outscore you. So if I can get Travion Henderson with Jayen, that's a problem, bro. Like you talking about the read option type plays, like a dude one cut and he is gone. Like that's different, bro. Like I like Hampton from North Carolina. I like all of them. But when I watch Henderson play, and that's limited carries because he had to split with Junkins, so you know he ain't overworked as a back. And you saw him in the Oregon game when he just took over the Oregon game. You saw him in a championship game. Like he don't get that's the thing. Like we're talking about explosive players who are home run hitters. When you you can run a fast 40. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some like the kid from Tennessee ran a nice 40. He fast, but he got walked. I've seen him get walked in on Saturdays. Henderson don't get walked. Like he don't. Once he's out, he out. Like you ain't catching this kid. And I've watched him for the last couple of years, and I've always been impressed with him. Like his speed is different. He look fast. Sometimes people look fast, but they're not fast. He look fast and he is fast. So I would love to have him with Jaden, man. I think him and Jaden would be a serious problem. Like I don't think that's an issue the Eagles don't want on that defense. Nobody want that issue.
I agree with that. I was saying a few weeks ago that they need to add somebody. At first, I was saying receiver, but it could be a back. They need to add somebody with crazy speed, right? Yeah. Whether it's a fast 40 or you just a fast dude with the ball in your hands. Mm-hmm. I think that's one thing the offense is missing. They could be an upgrade. Whether that's a guy that's just because remember we had De'Ami Brown. He wasn't always towards the end of the year. He started to catch fire, but for the most part, he was just a guy that was taking the top off the defense. Yeah. And they don't have that serious speed threat right now. I do think they could add that. But Bryce, do you think there's a specific running back that they could grab in the first round that could supplant Brian Robinson?
I do. Honestly, I mean, I think it's multiple running backs in this draft. I'm not a B-Rob hater, bro.
I know you were. A lot of folks feel the way you feel. That's why I'm laughing.
Like I was on the show last week, and Rome, you remember this. I was saying how B-Rob has improved his yards per carry every season. I know everybody's waiting for the 1,000-yard season or the 15-ton season, but every year he's gone up in YPC, which tells me this is a guy that has gotten better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Despite what the fan base may think. So I don't want to be too hard on B-Rob, but I do think that this is a very good draft class for running backs. I think this is one of the top running back draft classes we've seen in a couple seasons. And with that said, honestly, I think there's probably I did the math a couple weeks ago, and I had over almost 20 draftable running backs, which is crazy. That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because most years you might get, 10,
5.
You might get 5. You might get 10 is draftable, right? Mm-hmm. But as far as first round goes, I'm with you. I do love Travion Henderson. I feel like he's got the game breaking talent that we've been missing. I feel like Austin Eckler kind of brings that, but he's missing that next gear. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You get it.
Travion could be Austin Eckler with the next gear, basically, right? So I would love that. Rome, though, from the jump, I identified Omarion Hampton back when nobody was talking about him. There was a time where they was calling him a 3rd, 4th round pick. Rome, I told you, this running back right here, he's the truth. And the reason I think he's so good is because his versatility and his size, his ability to play on every down. I think if you bring in Travion Henderson, right, you're probably replacing Austin Eckler with Travion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't think Travion is going to be your every down back, and I really wouldn't want him to right off the rip. I would want him to get used to the NFL a little bit, right? Hence the way they use him at Ohio State, right? Junkins was the battering ram. Travion was the electricity. You know what I'm saying? They had a great balance there. And I could see Travion coming in and playing that 1-2 punch with B-Rob. And if it's a trade down, I'd love to try to get Travion early in the second. I would understand what they were doing if they took him in the first, though. But if Omarion Hampton's there at 29, and I was the GM, I would definitely be tempted to take him. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that Omarion Hampton, to me, he reminds me of Joe Mixon, right? He's always one of my favorite backs, right? Yeah. Because can Joe Mixon take one to the crib? Yes. Is he going to do that every game, every coach game? Probably not. But Joe Mixon can turn those 10s into 25s. You know,
Facts.
He can turn 25s into 35s, 40s. You feel me? And I think that's the one thing that the fan base wants more from B-Rob. I think back to that one run B-Rob had last year, bro. I think it was against the Giants. He broke through the line. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He broke through the line.
And he got walked.
And he got walked.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where it's like, bro, like any other back probably scores that joint. You know
everybody was on my timeline going in on him too. I was like, that's messed up.
And the thing was, like, it's probably only like a handful of backs that would have broke through that line, bro. The way he was able to break through the line, and that's the thing people don't give credit for. You know what I'm saying? That the fact that he broke through the line to begin with. But the breakaway speed wasn't there to score it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And honestly, like, Terry is my favorite commander, but I get that issue with him sometimes where I feel like he's 2 yards short from the zone. You know, like. And
I feel like he got better at the end of the year. Like he started getting like that speed started coming back because he was getting walked too.
And Terry
remember what I told you, Bryce?
The wherewithal to try to leap into the zone or something when he's close. You know what I'm saying? So you got to respect that. But like I do feel like we need that game breaking talent, which is like why y'all heard me say I would go with the O lineman if they drop. But like I'm also always down to get an elite weapon. You know, so I'm always down for a weapon. And I feel like at 29, if I see Omarion Hampton there, who's a running back, I'm taking him. But if I see like Luther Bird in there, who's a receiver out of Missouri, who kind of got that game-breaking speed too, like I'd be tempted because I just feel like that's what we need, somebody that can turn those 10s into 20s, 20s to 40s.
No, I agree with both of you guys on this. Like, if there's a potential game breaker at 29, I think it almost becomes a no-brainer, right? I think we've kind of gone through all the scenarios. And I think as much as you know, a lot of the fan base wants to see them draft defense, and they do need to improve on defense. I think first round you could get away with getting a game breaker on offense or boosting the O line, and then going the next two picks, you know, edge or safety or edge or DB or edge, whichever one is best available in the second or third round. And I think that could honestly, after having this conversation with you two, I think that honestly could be the way that Adam Peters is viewing this draft.
Hey, and keep in mind too, Adam Peters' first draft, and I know it's his first rodeo as like a GM, right? But like he went defense heavy. He went defense heavy, bro. And what happened with the defense? It didn't amount to a whole bunch. So he might look at this draft like, what if I draft the offensive version of Mikey Sanders still? What if I find that gem on offense? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? And I could see it kind of being a reverse to where this is more of an offensive heavy draft. We'll see how it shake out though.
I do think like now I think about it, like I do think it'll be like best player available. I just feel like I'm gonna be real with you. If Hampton slips to like that, I think they'll draft them. I just feel like they know, like at 29, I've always felt like when you were like in the back of the bus, you want the best player. Like I know that's kind of like I know it's neat. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I do want a defensive player bad because I don't like 55 on me. I hate Eagle fans now. Like I don't like 55 on me. But I am a realist though at the same time. I know when you draft that's just why that's why the Ravens have been good for so many years. They do the same thing. When they're in the back, they get the best available player. That's how they roll. They saw Lamar, we get Lamar. We're gonna trade and try to get Lamar. It's like things like that. So to me, when you're further back like this is when you typically like you get the best available player. Barring they're not getting no quarterback, but you know what I mean. Like the best available player, non-quarterback. So yeah, if the player is there, like wide receiver, running back, edge rusher, if that edge rusher is rated higher on their board compared to those other dudes, they're taking the edge rusher. If that running back is high on their board compared to, I don't care if you need whoever, if that running back is higher than those players, they're taking the running back. O lineman, whatever, they're going to get the best player also that fits their brand of football. What I mean by that is a character dude. Like a lot of people, because I've heard in the like I like James Pierce out of Tennessee. I like him. I mean, yes, Tennessee's in Tennessee. Tennessee, I like him a lot, right? But I've heard that his character, he got character issues.
Yeah.
And so
I don't see Dan going for that.
Yeah, so it's true that they won't go for that. If what I heard is true, they're not drafting him because he tested well in terms of the combine, in terms of the speed. He's had a good college career, so it's not like his college career was bad. He had a good college career, so it matches up, right? What he did in the combine and workouts, it matches up to his physical ability on Saturdays, right? but the character thing has to be there. So like it goes to that. Like, there's a lot of they have their categories, their own elements of who they feel like is going to be a commander. So you got to have the skill set, the talent, obviously, and you got to have the character. So that's all going to be weighed in. So you got character flaws. Chances are you ain't going to be here.
Nah, facts, and that's one of the better things about Dan Quinn and this new regime. We don't have much drama. Normally, this time of year, fellas, we talking about some drama. We talking about drafting a quarterback. We finally in a position where we don't got to talk about those things, and it feels damn good, to be honest. But I think we're all in agreement that they're probably going to go best player available here. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on what they might do day 2, though. So, what do y'all think if they go best player available day 2, they just start filling in the needs based off who's on the board that's the best? Or this is the real scenario I want to throw. I just remembered. So we don't need a quarterback, but there's lots of other teams that do. Okay. So being at the 29th pick, this is a weak QB draft. Let's say Jackson Dart falls, Shedeur Sanders, somebody's still on that board at 29th. Do the Commanders then start fielding calls, trade back, and let someone else trade up to get that quarterback? Because let's say Dart or Sanders are for some reason still on the board that low. Teams that want them are going to want that 5th-year option. So now that 29th pick might become even more valuable. Would y'all accept a trade back scenario in that type of scenario?
Yeah, if I get a second and third, if I get a third rounder or a second rounder, yeah, they need a third rounder. Because I think after the first 2 picks, they don't want the next pick is in the 4th, and then they have a couple more. So they need more picks. And this team has done well. I feel like Adam Peters has done well. He did well last year in the draft, right? So I feel like they can add some more picks and he'll kind of fill out this roster to kind of help out this team. So I feel like if they have an opportunity to move back, if the player that they are in love with is not there, then they should move back. That's just a fact. You're at 29, just like Bryce said. Like some of these positions, you can get some of the same quality of players in the 2nd round for real. He's right. He's totally right about that. So if you're not in love with any of these players, that say you were in love with Mike Green, he got drafted early already, or you were in love with somebody else today, or you were in love with Hampton, he got drafted already. All right, you can slide back down. Why? I mean, you can slide back in the early second, maybe, and get a player you probably were eyeing anyway, and you can definitely get that player and draft picks. Why not do that? Make that move. So I'm forward. I'm forward if the player that you want to get, that you are eyeing, isn't available, or hence maybe the player you expect your player to slip anyway, so you'll trade out of the 1st anyway. So I feel like, you know what, I feel like trading out of 29 is a spot. I would say it's a 40% chance that they would trade out of 29. I'm pretty high. I can even go higher, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna say 40% chance they'll trade out of 29 because I can see them trying to definitely get that 3rd pick, maybe get a 2nd and 3rd if they can finagle it.
Yeah, I think if a quarterback starts to fall, they could really finesse the weight of that pick. Go ahead, Bryce.
Nah, I really agree. I agree 100% with that mindset. And earlier I kind of alluded to like people shitting on this draft, right? And it's because they don't see the top end talent, right? Usually in these drafts there's a consensus top 20. We already know who the best 20 players are in most drafts, right? Yeah. But in this draft, it's more of a consensus top 6. After like what's the tackle from LSU? His name is slipping my mind.
He's like the best. Yeah, he's like the best.
After Will Campbell, it's almost like who's the consensus now? It's like probably 6-7 players that we know after Abdul, Travis Hunter, maybe 6-7 more players after that are certified, elite talents. But it's not that top 20 in this draft, right? I think that's why people are so hard on this draft. But I also think the strength of the draft is from like 32 to 70.
There you go.
Like I think it's the draft. Really, I go even higher. I say I really think it's probably from like 20, 25 all the way down to player 70. The players in that range are very, very similar talent level. And it's not just because it's weak at the top. It's also because the draft is very deep. And I think in the Commanders' favor, this draft is very deep in positions that we need to draft. So I think that kind of works in our favor right there. So if you do trade back, I'm 100% on board for that because I think you can walk away with 3 players in the 2nd to 3rd, 3 to 4 players in the 2nd and 3rd rounds that can contribute day 1, like instantly. Like and it's a few guys that kind of come to mind instantly. But I think one thing we definitely have to do, especially seeing like how things happen with John Allen, right? I think the same fate is in line for Daron Payne. right? So I would love to see. And yeah, we got Newton to replace Allen, but I think we need that next one up to replace Payne. This draft is crazy when it comes to D tackles. And it might only be 3 or 4 of them drafted in the first round, but it's endless D tackles in this draft. And I guarantee you, 2 to 3 D tackles taken after the first round in this draft will end up being all pros. I almost can guarantee you that. That's how strong I feel like this draft is for that. And then same with the edge. Like I know people want that edge with the 29th pick. But if we get the edge with 61, I think we can end up. I know you're not gonna like this, Wole. We can end up with a guy like JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State.
He ain't bad. I like him.
This edge rushers in this draft.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, saying, you know this.
I know. I hate to say it. He's nice though. He's nice.
He be tearing it up. I mean, you talking about a guy that in 4 games, right, in the college football playoffs, had like 6 sacks in a forced fumble. You know, I don't know how he's not getting talked about.
Me either. I am very surprised that he's not getting talked up. I'm serious.
I'm surprised. And then the dude they got on the other side, Jack.
Yeah, 33. Yeah, he like that. Yeah.
Like,
nice.
And these are players that's going in like the second, maybe third round. So like when you start looking at this draft, I feel like the strength on the defensive line is in the later rounds, right? And in addition to that, you know, if you don't get a Marion Hampton, you trade down from 29. I think it's also great value at running back in those 3rd, 4th, even the 5th round, right? So for me, if we trade down, I would be very happy with that, especially if we can turn the second pick, our number 29th pick into a second round pick and 2 more picks.
Yeah,
but that's gold. That's gold because that number 29 is basically a second round pick.
Agreed.
Right.
Totally
right.
agree.
And originally, when I first started looking at my draft homework, I thought for sure Adam Peters would be looking to trade down, and the closer we get to it, the more I feel that way because the more scenarios occur. Trading down is really what's best for the Commanders. To Wole's point from earlier, unless they are absolutely in love with a player at 29, they'll probably trade down. But then you never know who's going to fall to 29. You never really know. So you kind of got to play it by ear. But I think day 2 will be a big day for the Commanders. That Friday night draft will be the one everybody needs to lock into. But like I was saying earlier, man, we're out of QB purgatory. Some teams are still in QB purgatory. So for our last topic, man, let's talk about the QBs a little bit. All right. We got blessed last year. 2nd round, Jaden Daniels. We got the best QB in the draft, or second pick, best QB in the draft. Couldn't ask for anything more, right? All that's over now, though. That's in the review. Like 2024 is officially, you know what I'm saying, something just to look back on, and we could compare it similar to 2012. Now, I say that because what happened in 2013? Not a whole lot that we want to talk about, right? So how can Jaden Daniels and this Commanders team be different from that Redskin team from 2012 to 2013? How can they shore up 2024 or 2025 is similar to 2024, and we don't have a huge sophomore slump and fall off?
I think there's a couple things. There's one, they have this mantra, the brotherhood, right, within the team. It's way closer than that team in 2012. That team in 2012 there were people, competing with each other. You had obviously Robert looking behind his back with Kirk Cousins. We had a good indication of the family, the love that this last year's team had for each other with Marcus Mariota and Jaden Daniels. With Marcus Mariota balled and fried, you could see Jaden Daniels being his best supporter, like out there cheering, going hard for him. And then we saw that clip with when Mariota walked to the Jay and said, go win us that, you know what I mean? Go do that for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the brotherhood to me shows that everybody backing each other. That's one thing I feel like it's going to help Jaden in terms of not having that situation that we saw in 2012. We can never predict injuries, so I'm not going to put that out there. Injuries are injuries. That's what happens. I'm not going to predict any injury or whatnot. But in terms of his makeup, his maturity, like his team-oriented mentality, I just think they're just different. You know what I mean? Like if you think about the year that Jaden had, and this is no knock, I'm not against anybody trying to make their money or trying to, take over like the brand you made for yourself. That's not. So I'm not throwing shade on Griffin like that or RG3. I feel like that's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to brand yourself, make money off you. Like everybody else gonna make money off you. Why can't you make money off you? But I will say, like, with Jaden, it's like thoroughly all football. There's no, and he's in a position to be highly marketed, right? Let's keep him the being. Look what he did last year. Truth be told, I'm surprised he ain't even getting his own special Nike shoes and or commercials everywhere. Like that's how thorough to me his rookie year was. Probably the best rookie year for a quarterback that I can remember, to be real with you. And I thought, you know what I mean, to be real with you. So to me, you would think he would be up there in terms of marketable players in all of sports.
Hey, I brought this up last week, Wole. Hey, how Campbell Soup hasn't started a Jaden Daniels and his mom's soup commercial yet.
Oh, bro.
I'm going to keep throwing that out there, bro. I'm going to keep throwing that out there. Like, that needs to happen.
That lets you know that he all football. You dig what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. Like, he locked in. Like, we could see him at USC with Juju and his mom in between. But that's just him, like, watching the game, right? That's the most you're going to get out of him. Like, but truth be told, to me, he all football. That's why I think it's different. Like, the mentality is different. And for everybody, whatever floats your boat, I ain't knocking anybody who doesn't do it this way, because you can still be successful doing it another way. So I'm just saying, but for me, the difference with him, like in RG3 or whoever, in terms of sophomore slumps, I just think he's just different. He built different. That's why I think if he has a sophomore, I think we talked about this offline. If he has a sophomore slump, it ain't gonna be a real slump. It's just gonna be maybe a drop in a couple stats, and you can call that a slump. But it ain't gonna be like in terms of total body of work and play. I don't expect him to have a real slump.
Well, let me phrase it this way for you, jump in, Bryce. It would in the eyes of the fans, right? Because we talked about how fans are very fickle. We turned on B-Rob, turned on people very, very quickly in this fan fanatic world, right? So in the eyes of the fans, what can Jaden do to not have a sophomore slump? Because people were killing CJ Stroud, who before Jaden, just the year before, 2023, this is the best rookie QB season we've ever seen. Then, he gets to the playoffs, win a playoff game, and they're calling it a slump. So we got all the way to NFC Championship. So in the eyes of the fans, does Jaden need to win a Super Bowl for it to not be a slump? Or if we get to the playoffs and get bounced out right away, does that still qualify as a slump?
I ain't stealing Bryce. That's Bryce work. I ain't stealing Bryce work. You got it, Bryce. Go. You can answer this. I ain't stealing your work.
I mean, hey, I want to hear your answer. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead though. You want my answer?
I'll say it can't be considered a slump, right? A slump to me, and I guess technically it would be a team decline. Like if we don't make it further than the NFC Championship, technicalities, yes, it would, right? But like if we just being like, what does a slump look like? And this is, I think, well, you hitting the nail on the head, right? It's hard. I'm not gonna call Jaden slump proof, right? Yeah. But it's hard for a player that comes in recognizing that he has things to work on to slump. And I think, and we all lived through 2012 and we enjoyed it. But like if I had any criticism of RG3, it was that he felt like he had all the answers to the test, right? There you go. Right. He felt like he felt like no one could tell him what he had to work on, like he already knew. But even like I saw Jaden interview with John Gruden the other day. I don't know if y'all seen this.
Yeah, I saw snippets of it. I ain't watched all of it yet.
Well, one of the questions John Gruden asked him was like, how are you gonna get better next year? And he was like, look, Dan Quinn's already in my ear telling me things that basically he alluded to, like Dan Quinn telling me things that I didn't realize that I need to get better on, and I'm in the lab working on those. So this is somebody that's like comes into it feeling like open to suggestions and open to what he can get better at, right? And if you have that mindset, you're always going to succeed. I don't care what you're doing. If you're open to other people's criticisms, you're always going to succeed. So I'm not trying to say the man is slump proof, because anything can happen, but this is what a player who's going to ascend looks like. So I'm not going to judge Jaden at the end of the year on stats and accolades, right? I'm going to judge him like on ascension with the eye test. Like, do I feel like he ascended this season? And if I feel like he ascended, I'm not going to call it a slump.
Now that's a very fair take. I have a feeling the fans might not see it that way, but that's a great way to look at it, because if you're open to other people's suggestions and criticisms, then you kind of are slump proof, right? If you're open and willing to listen, and you could apply this to anything. This don't even got to apply to football. You can apply this to your job, everyday life type thing. Right. If you're open to being told, hey, you succeeded a little bit here, but you missed putting a period here or a punctuation there or whatever, then all that's going to do is make you better and make you grow. And the reason I think Jaden is, I'll say it, slump proof, is because his favorite athlete is Kobe Bryant. And I take part of Kobe's mantra and tell it to my boys every single day before I send them to school. stay focused and do better than you did yesterday, right? And it's kind of the Mamba mentality, right? Like Kobe was the kind of guy where if he shot it and he missed it, I'm gonna shoot it again and I'm gonna make it. If he shot and he made it, I'm gonna do better than I did the next time. So if you have that mentality, which I believe Jaden does, of hey, we lost, I'm gonna get better. We won, I'm gonna get better. Like that's what I tell the kids that I coach. Like if you drop a pass, line up because we got another play. If you catch a pass, line up because we're trying to score. Like you can't get too high or too low on your performance, and you got to understand that you can always improve. There is no perfection. You're always going to be chasing that perfection, and I think Jaden embodies that. So I don't foresee a sophomore slump from him personally, but I do foresee fans, maybe within the fan base, certainly outside the fan base, will say, y'all are 4-4. This is a sophomore slump. It's over. It's done. He's RG3 all over again. Like I can already see if we lose 2-3 games in a row, they're gonna come with the pitchforks. They're gonna call it it was just a 1-year wonder. Like, but hey, we'll see what happens when we do hit those bumps in the road. If they can, because this past year we had a little slump in the middle of the season, and they fought through it. So we'll see how it goes next season. But I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion that certain fans will call anything less than a Super Bowl appearance a slump.
I will say this though too, like when people fail to realize, which I hate about team sports, like people put everything on one person, which I just hate. Like at the end of the day, like it's the same reason. And I'm going to be local with it, but like it's the same reason why people like was judging like Caleb Williams and stuff, right? It's still a whole team. Like if that O-line sucks, you're not going to be good as a quarterback, right? I don't care who you are. Like you can be the greatest. You can be Michael Vick out there. Like your O-line suck, your numbers ain't going to be legit. It ain't going to be legit. You know what I'm saying? Like period. I don't care what you are. That's the reason why Jalen Hurts is a quality quarterback in the league, because that O-line gives him time in the pocket to do whatever he wants to do. So if Jayden, like to me, I don't want people to, if Jayden's under duress or stuff like that, and that's the reason why maybe his stats don't come out the way we think it should, right? Don't blame Jayden. Just understand it's a team game. The O-line got to be better. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that are in a football game that is out of his control. He can do but so much. You know what I mean? So it's the same premise I didn't want on him, but he ended up being Superman last year anyway. Like I don't want my rookie quarterback or my second-year quarterback to have to worry about all that. You know what I mean? I want him to do his job, which is like to win football games, to be accurate with the football, get out of trouble because he's that good, he's dynamic, and that's it. But don't put the whole world on him. Don't try to make, like, God bless Terry, but if there was no Terry, don't try to have him make Olamide vicious. Like when he
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't try to make certain people like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you like project receivers and then see, make them look like something. He ain't at Brady level. That's different. That's years in the game. When you can make somebody's I don't want to like disrespect.
No, I know what you're saying. When you can make an average player a B+ player,
to a top flight player. So it's like folks they know who Wes Welker was in Miami like that. He was all right, but when he went to New England, you knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? Like Jay don't got to be that. Don't force Jayden to be that person now. That's all I'm saying. Like that's why I give him talent and whatnot, but understand that those players as a whole help Jayden be Jayden. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. Like if those players aren't stepping up, that ain't Jayden's fault. Like you know what I'm saying?
That's a great point.
That plays a part in the whole slump. Like we talk about CJ Stroud. Nico Collins was out for some of them games, and that should contribute to his slump. But that's why everybody said, "Oh, he's declining." Nah, Nico was out. That's what it was.
Right.
Like you need help. You know what I'm saying? Everybody need help, man. So that's my thing. Like fans ain't gonna see. I ain't gonna hold you. If folks don't step up, because I ain't putting on Jay. If folks don't step up, folks gonna turn on. They gonna say, "Oh man, what was he doing? He was at too many games. He was at these USC games. He was doing that. He was doing whatever." That's the thing. Like they're gonna try to blame every other thing under the sun. But but the fact of like, all right, like folks ain't get better. Maybe the play calling ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's one thing. The closer we get to the season, I'm gonna talk more about that. But that's one thing I think that'll contribute to a slump or a potential slump is Cliff Kingsbury. Like that's who I also want to see some growth and some improvement, because in the past people have been able to figure him out as well. So
Did better this year. I won't give him credit. I'll give him his flowers. Like that point in time where folks were like, "Oh, they figured him out," and he kind of like he switched. He flipped the switch. Like he was like, "Nah, they ain't figuring me out. Yeah, I ain't figuring me out." So I'll give him credit because I was one of them. I was one of them. I was like, "Yeah, bro. Like, dang, your track record ain't nice, bro. Like, you kind of doing what you did in Arizona." Like
he finally learned. He finally learned there.
He did, because he was keeping Terry on the same side. Didn't want to move Terry. He was being stubborn. Then he was like, "Oh, maybe I should move Terry." So I'm just saying, like,
I forget which game it was, but one game he came out the whole first quarter, had Terry in the slide on the right, on the left. I was like, he was reading Twitter.
He was reading Twitter. He was being real petty. That's what he was.
Yeah, he was being petty. Now you trying to prove a point right there. One more thing on the Jaden slump proof before we get off that topic, because I like that term. I think I'm gonna take that term away from this episode and call slump proof might be my new term right now.
I like it. It's kind of dope. If I can hold you, that's the first time I've ever heard that. That's kind of dope.
Hey, if you slump proof, that means you really something, for real. But listen, I implore all Commanders fans to check out that John Gruden interview, because I thought it was a good job by John Gruden, really getting some words out of Jaden. Jaden can be short-winded sometimes.
Yeah.
He's not gonna give you too much, right? Mm-hmm. But one thing that John Gruden asked him, I thought was a great question, was like, at what point of last season did you feel like you got better, or like you started figuring it out? Like, when did you start figuring it out last season? And like, this is why I know he's slump proof, right? Because a lot of players would have took that opportunity to like big up themselves, or like to say like, when I threw that
Hail Mary
Terry against Cincinnati, like he could have said something like that. Instead, he was like, honestly, I felt myself getting the most better when we went on that 3-game losing streak. And
I agree with him too.
And when he said it, I was like, I see, because like that's when I realized he really that dude, because like that's when you get to learn the most. You feel me? You don't get to learn the most. You get to learn when you succeed too. Yeah. But you should be learning the most off your failures, right? And like that's why Jaden gonna go back and look at last season and really look at his failures and like really build off that. And if I'm being completely honest, like comparing Jaden from college to the NFL, obviously totally different like ball game. But one thing I will say is he never really, in my opinion, never truly got in his bag as far as rushing the football. I know he was our leading rusher, had over like 730 or something like that. Yeah. But I'm talking about, bro, Jaden got a whole nother bag, bro, where he ripping off. He ain't ripping off no 50 or 60-yard runs, really. He had like one for like 40, but like he got that in his bag. And once he started really getting in his bag, and I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like next season gonna be crazy for Jaden, bro.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, because one thing about, like, he ain't lying about like what he said. I felt like he became a better passer, like when he was going through that struggle. Like, I mean, at right when he got healthy, when he was getting healthier, you can see it. Like, he was more comfortable throwing the football, because at first he would run because he just didn't see it, which is cool with me. I'm always about that.
Yeah.
Like, you're a run quarterback. I don't expect you to see you're not supposed to be seeing see the whole field. You're a rookie. That's what rookies like. That's a rookie thing. It's understandable. Like Patrick Mahomes said, I couldn't read defenses. I didn't know how to read defense in my first year. And he had a great rookie year. I mean, the year he got to start, his first year start, because Andy Reid made things easy for him. So as time goes on, you learn the game, and you learn how to read defenses. But I thought he got better reading defenses, and we saw it on drives where, especially in the postseason, where now he was hitting folks like on stride, like hitting people like it was 1, 2, 3 out, and it was out. It wasn't holding the ball. 1, 2, 3, hold the ball. I don't see it. I'm running. It was more, okay, now I'm ready to throw it. That's why, like, you saw his interceptions go up a little bit, because now he was more willing to make those throws. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes people get so enamored with picks. Like, if it's a bad throw, obviously, but sometimes, to get better and as a passer, you're going to have to throw some picks. You're going to have the chance throwing the ball in tight windows. You're going to have to anticipate more. Like, you can't. I love Jaden that he's safe with the football, but at times, if you want to be better as a passer, sometimes you're going to have to let that thing go, right? And he was starting to let that thing go. I totally agree with him. I thought he got better as a quarterback, like, after that stretch of bad, rough games. We saw it in the postseason. That's why we were blessed to get to the NFC Championship game, because of his improvement as the season went on, like towards the end. That's what I like about. That's why I'm so positive about Jaden. I felt like, yeah, the beginning of the season was cool, but I felt after that injury and after that rough patch, I saw progression. I'm all for rookies getting better toward the end of the year. When I know that's happening, I know that you're in line to be, like you said, slump proof. You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm for it, man. I'm for it. I think Jaden gonna be special next year.
So let's wrap it up like this then. I'm gonna ask both of you. What was your favorite moment from Jaden last year? And I'll give mine as well. Bryce, you can go first.
That is a tough question, boy. There was so many. He gave so many moments, bro. Like, dog, my favorite moment. It was a few, man. It was a few. Thinking back, like, what was the game? The game he took. One of my favorite moments is he took one of the most vicious hits I've seen on the sideline. I'm trying to remember what game it was. I want to say.
Oh, that was that dirty hit. You talking about
the dirty one? That wasn't Bucks. That wasn't the first Bucks game, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't
the first game. What was that game he took that dirty hit on the sideline, bro?
It was that. It was. I know what you're talking about. It wasn't a Bucks game. It was a home game, wasn't it? Am I wrong? It was a home game, right?
He thought it was away. I could be wrong, but we know the moment. The fans know the moment, right? Jaden took the dirty hit on the sideline, bro. He got up and was laughing, was pointing at the defender, laughing at him. I was like, "Oh, this man different, bro." That was one of my favorites. It really is a tie.
It was a road game. It was a road game. It's not the Giants, is it? Is it a Giants game?
Might have been. It might have been the Giants. I just remember my man got up and was laughing.
He poked at him, laughing at him. They were all.
Yeah, he like, bro, this is nothing, bro. Don't think this hit is phasing me, bro. And that was that one moment I was like, bro, we got one. And then the other moment I would say, and this is to Wole's point, like he was getting better later in the season, and this is definitely my all-time favorite rookie moment of Jaden. And I was at this game. I was at the New Orleans game, and he had the jump where he almost fell on the ground, bro. He even put a hand on the ground.
That jump was sick, yeah.
Got back up, did a little spin move, got back on his platform, and threw a dime to Terry in the back of the end zone. And I was like, bro, the progression, because like Wole said, early in the season, he would have tucked that joint. If he was able to stay with his feet, he would have tucked and he would have been out. Yeah. But at this moment, he had the presence of mind to like, hold up, I'm still a passer right now. Reset and found Terry open. And I was like, bro, I'm telling you, the stadium, you could have heard a pin drop. Like all the Saints fans was quiet, bro, and all the Commanders started going crazy. Like I remember looking at my brother, like, bro, we really got one. When you doing shit like when you doing stuff like that as a quarterback, man, like that's next level. And that's the moment I knew, like, yeah, bro, I don't got to see no more, bro. I don't care what we could have done the rest of the season, but that's when I knew, like, yeah, we in good hands moving forward, no question. So those my
man. There's a lot of good. That Saints one is a good one. I honestly forgot about that one. That one definitely stood out. Well, I'm gonna let you go ahead.
All right, for me, because I didn't think we were gonna win initially mentally. I'm gonna go that Monday night game against the Bengals. I don't know. I was like, damn, man, Monday night we gotta go against Joe Burrow and that mob of receivers. I was like, damn, Higgins gonna want to play against us. He was out all
and they were cooking too.
Yeah, I was like, Higgins, that's the first game back. I was like, damn, they will play against Higgins too. I was like, damn, we gonna get smashed, man. And the way Jaden, and there was already talk about Terry not balling, whatever, and the way Jaden and Terry went ham, bro, that was special. Like I was like, all right, that's when I knew. Like I knew, all right, we legit. Like I had my doubts because I was the first dude to be out here with like I'm in the Travis Hunter Bowl. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get Travis Hunter too with Jaden. We gonna be all right, dog. It ain't next year, this year not year, but the year after we gonna be lit. But nah, that one, that's when I knew it was like, oh shit. I was like, oh,
might be on to something.
This might be something. You know what I mean? So that was like my favorite. Like my real favorite moment. Obviously, like I love the Atlanta game, the Clint to go to the postseason overtime, hitting Zach Ertz. That was just classy Jayden doing Jayden things. So that one, when the team needed you the most, you know what I'm saying? They needed you. It could have like went left after Atlanta tied it up with the touchdown. To Pitts, right? Did Kyle Pitts. We threw the Pitts. It could have been like, oh damn, we squandered this joint. Like this is supposed to be ours. We squandered it at home, but Jayden was Jayden doing Jayden things. So yeah, man, we got one, man. We got a real one.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you a little bit on that one. That the Bengals one was the moment where I felt like all right, like we have a legit quarterback, bro. Nobody, I don't care what no other fan base tells me. All these dudes could just shut the hell up because like that Jaden to Terry play in the end zone, that was just straight them. Like they called the audible. Ertz and them weren't even lined up. Like Jaden's getting hit, he's dropping a dime to Terry. Like that's some backyard football. That's some Madden. Like I can just call the audible to Terry and hit it, and that's some real life shit. Like that was a big moment for me. Um, a smaller moment that stood out to me, I was watching film on Jaden. He broke a run against the Browns. I believe it was like it was either fourth or third down or something. And I think it was fourth down, and Buddy breaks it for like 30, 40 yards. Next thing you know, it's first and goal. At the end of that play, he stiff-armed the hell out the DB, bro. Just did my man dirty, bro. And that was a moment that clicked for me because I was like, all these haters, oh, Jaden's going to get hurt if he runs. He's too small of a frame. I'm like, bro, he's out here dogging these DBs. But the biggest moment for me, it wasn't the Hail Mary. It wasn't, one of the late game plays. It was the second Eagles game when he threw the pick to Cooper DeJean, one of the white dudes. Bro, I looked at my son and I said, damn, this was his rookie moment. It's over. We lost.
Yeah.
We did not lose that game, bro. Jaden Daniels, that's the Kobe, that's the Mamba mentality right there, bro. Like I even had to remind myself, like, bro, like, you made a mistake. It's not over. You get the ball back. You got another chance. Granted, homeboy dropped that pass that would have ended that game or whatever. But that's why you keep playing. That's why Jaden got that other chance. He didn't sit out there and think about that interception. He went down the field and won the game. And that was the biggest Jaden Daniels moment for me because it was a chance for me to look at my son and be like, damn, like this is a moment where things feel like they're down and out. Like it really looks like it's over, but you got another chance and you keep fighting. And for me, that was the biggest moment of the season. And it was extra nice because we beat the Eagles. Jameson Crowder catching the pass at the end. Everything about that shit was perfect for me.
So. Yeah, man.
Bro, so many moments, bro. Like dog, you got me thinking about. It's probably over 25 moments that I can legitimately.
You can go in the bag.
The Cowboys joined the Terry. Like we lost that game.
We lost it, but that play was special.
That shit was like it was so many moments that he gave in the rookie season.
Dude, the Detroit game, bro, it was a moment.
right. Detroit, right, bro.
That's a moment.
Right. And you know what? This also brings me to, and I ain't trying to ramble too much, right? But I know we get into the end, but this also reminds me of what we was talking about earlier and how the fan base is going to be so conflicted, right? Because the fan base not going to compare what Jaden's really doing on the field. They're going to compare how many moments he left them with. And if you don't leave him with as many moments, you know what I'm saying? That's what they going to really feel like is a regression, but it's not though. Because
facts.
These moments happen. Like Jaden gave us this many moments, and this is my truest opinion. He gave us this many moments because like the way the team was constructed, bro, he was almost forced to give us that many moments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm telling, and this is why goes back to my number one, wish list is I want to give Jaden some sort of weapon. I don't care if it's O-line help. I don't care if it's another receiver, the running back, something. But like, bruh, let's let my man not to have to make so many moments. Let's make it so he don't got to make so many moments.
Facts, bro.
That's where I'm at. That's I'm glad with the Debo signing because Debo, the trade with Debo because Debo, a dude that you just give him a 5-yard pass and he take that thing to the house. Like he's the play. Like you can say he don't got an ideal position in terms of he's not the ideal wide receiver, right? You can make that argument, right. Cool, whatever. But he's a playmaker. You get that man the ball, dudes don't like tackling him, and he got that in-game speed. He got that in-game speed when he don't get walked a lot. Like he made his 40.
Right, you gotta actually be fast to walk him. He's gonna hit a gear.
You're gonna hit a gear. You gotta be fast to walk him. Debo can take a 5-yard route and take it to the house. So I'm just happy they brought another player like that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm happy about. Because Terry still running about a 4.3, 4.4, like a 4.4, probably a 4.4 nowadays. But like he's still fast enough, you know what I'm saying? Like to make big plays. And we saw down the stretch, Terry, that Detroit game, we took a screen and took it to the house. So he still has the ability to get you like the game-changing moments. But you need another dude to do that, to help Jaden. So like Bryce said, so he don't got to give us so many freaking moments. So it don't got to be all him. You know what I mean? Like we don't need just to have him having a spectacular play. Like we need other dudes that have spectacular plays. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I'm with
Bryce
that thought process.
We were supposed to dog the Cowboys. Like they had their backup quarterback.
Nah,
We were supposed to dog them, bro.
I ain't gonna lie. That's I almost lost all faith in this team after they lost to the Cowboys.
Yeah, that Cowboy loss hurt.
That's one of
Bro.
the trash ass Cowboy teams I've ever seen in my life, and we lost to them. I was like, yo, this can't be like we can't. Not to that team. Like nah. They look like they ready to quit. They ready to quit.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that joint had pissed. That's when I almost you talking about the vibes on the positive. I was on some negative vibe shit back in that game. Like I didn't feel like I was so disappointed. Like I was like, I hate this team. Like I went from loving this, I hated this team after the Cowboys game.
Yeah, no, that one was a tough one to swallow, but hey, man, at least, like I said when we started, at least we finally out of QB purgatory. A lot of good things to look forward to, man. Bryce, I think you're 100% right on the moments. I think I honestly hope we don't have as many moments next season. I hope we win by a lot more points. Maybe the moments can just be moments of domination. That would be more preferable. But I think that will affect how they view it. And once the season gets started, Wole, you definitely gonna have to hop back on here.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro.
We gonna chop it up and see where check the temperature of the fan base. That's what we do here at Hell to the Culture. Before we wrap it up, though, man, you want to plug your show one more time?
No, I just want to say thank you to you all, man. I'm just blessed to be on. I appreciate y'all, man, for asking me to be on, man. And it's been fun. It's been real fun. I already plugged early. I don't need to plug again. I'm good.
Yes, sir. That is urban sports team, right?
Yeah.
I be checking y'all out, man. I'm a fan of the show, so if everybody out there listening, definitely peep.
That's cool, man. Like I just want folks out here listening, continue listening to the show. The show is tight. These two dudes right here, they know what time it is. They know the team, and like they know the temperature. So make sure y'all always pull up. All right.
Yes, sir.